Hello, this is Felicia Moore, your host for Realty, Resources, and Reality. Today, we are going to talk about spring cleaning for a successful sale. Those are some of you who are out there looking to sell your home. I'm going to give you the 10 must do tips for home sellers. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again here at Realty Resources and Reality. Again, Felicia Moore, your host. We need your help. We want you to make sure that you get the information out there to people who may need it. So if you know somebody who is about to sell their home, this is the show. Two-part series this month of April that you will want to share with your friends. And you need to like, share, or subscribe to the channel. It helps us to get it out in the algorithm. It helps others know what the good information we're sharing on here, and it helps to support the show. Here at Exit Realty West Midtown, we want to be a resource for the community. So we want to make sure those resources get out there and get shared with everyone. So today we're going to start part one of two-part series on spring cleaning for a successful sale. 10 must-do tips for home sellers. And a lot of times we don't think about that. We just think we're going to put our house up on the market, and because we love it, everybody else loves it, and it's going to get sold. Well, we want you to sell your property, and we want you to be able to sell it at the best price. A lot of this is psychological. When someone comes to a property with the thoughts of selling, you got to know what their end game is. Is it someone who's looking to just come and move in and just, vacuum a little bit and wipe down the walls and move in? Is it someone who's willing to move in and do a little work here and there, but that's okay as long as they can get the price that they can afford? Are they an investor that wants to move in and could care less about, how it looks cosmetically? They want to know what's going on structurally, how much they're going to have to invest to get the property to a point where they can either rent it to someone else or sell it to someone else. So those are all the things you've got to understand. But one thing is constant. If you do and commit to these top 10 things, no matter which one of those types of sales you're going to have for your home, you're going to be able to get the best price because you're going to be able to negotiate with them the best price because you're going to decide now what level of things that you want to do. Now you say, well, you know what? I don't want to do anything. I just want to sell my property as is, and that's fine. But even if you're selling your property as is, you still want to present it in the best light to whomever you're selling it to. So let's talk about a couple of those things, and then I want to come back and again implore you to please like, share, and subscribe. And if you don't do anything else, just hit that thumbs up, that like button. It helps us tremendously. So let's start with tip number one. Declutter and depersonalize. Remove personal items and excess clutter to make spaces look bigger and more inviting. So let's talk about the decluttering. You probably can't see it more than your realtor or whoever. If I'm working with you, I'm going to say, you know what? This is so nice that you have all of these boxes in this room stacked up very neatly and very organized looking. But I, as a buyer, want to see the space, not the boxes. So you want to make wherever you have look like the biggest place it can be, but it can't look big if there is full of things. You have things in your house, if you've lived there for any amount of time that you have accumulated, I would suggest, if you just can't take your time to go through these things and declutter them, give them away, sell them. That if you're ready to get that home sold, you might want to get a storage unit where you can take it, sort it out later, but you've got to clear it out of the space. That's decluttering. It's not a task that anyone wants to do. I know it's a task I'm going to be in the process of for my mom's home, trying to get 60 years worth of things down to a manageable amount of things that you would want to move into another property. It's not an easy task, but it's one that must be done. Depersonalize. That means going through your home and taking down some of the most cherished things and things you've put up and you probably just know that they're there and you don't pay attention to, but all of your personal things. If it's pictures of you and the kids, if it's that 5-year-old's project that they did that you just loved and put it up on the refrigerator or wherever, those types of things need to go because the people who are coming in the house need to see a house that they can personalize for themselves versus looking and say, oh, there's Johnny's marks on the door on how he grew up over the last 20 years or whatever you did on that. You know, you make those little nicks on the door when your kids are growing. Those things you really need to depersonalize because sometimes people will ask you, well, who is this and who is that? And you just don't want to get into that, and you don't want them stuck on looking at your pictures and your things and those antique items that you just can't get rid of. Well, you don't have to get rid of them, but you do need to move them from your space. So also, before I go on, I want to make sure that you know that we're here as a resource for you at Exit Realty West Midtown. So I want to add this to the screen where you can tell us, what shows do you like? What ideas do you have? What information you may need if you're looking in real estate, whether you use us or not, use us as a resource. We are here to answer questions and help you as we can. So please reach out to me at askfelicia@exitwestmidtown.com, or you can text Ask Felicia at 85377. So now, Number two is deep cleaning every room. Focus on those overlooked areas like those corners where the spiders may be, or the baseboards, or the vents and light fixtures. You want to make the home, not get someone coming in and get stuck on the fact that, there's a whole lot of dust accumulated in that air vent. I wonder, and get their minds wondering, how is this affecting the HVAC system? How is it affecting the hair quality? You want to clean and deep clean every room. You want to refresh the walls and touch up paint. It really doesn't take a lot to do that. A nice coat of paint helps. You may not want to do it. That's fine. But if you do it, it will give a sense differently of your property when people walk in. And particularly if you're smokers, quit smoking in the house, but also painting is essential because it will help to knock down that smell. You may not smell it when someone else who doesn't smoke, as soon as they walk in, they can tell that it was a smoker's home. And smoke leaves a very thin layer over things. And so you wanted to fresh that up. Organize the storage spaces, the closets, the cabinets, the pantries. All of these things should look spacious and well kept So they can show off the fact that you've got all this space in the pantry. You've got all this space in closets. You can still live in your property and be available to show your property, but you've got to declutter it. Those things that you're not using on a daily basis, because you're going to get that house sold quickly. You need to go ahead and get it packed up and out of the way, in storage or somewhere, a pod at in your backyard or your driveway. You need to get those out of the way because we want them to see exactly what's needed. And then one of the final things I want to mention, because people overlook this, and that is just the minor things. And like I said, it's psychological, because if somebody runs into door handles that are hanging off, or wires that are hanging from somewhere, or smoke detectors that are just kind of hanging on a wing and a prayer on the wall. Just those minor little things kind of psychologically say, oh, well, I got to fix this. Oh, there's a leak over there. The faucet's dripping. You're going through all of these things in your head, and they're adding up, even though they're very minor. So what we want to do is make sure when people come, no matter who or what type of buyer you're looking for or you're expecting to come through your property, they're not adding up little small things. So address those squeaky doors. A little oil will do you. Those leaky faucets, you can just go buy those rings. Do it yourself, get someone else that's a little handy to come help you. And if you full out have to get a plumber or whatever to keep that trap under the sink from leaking, do that. I have sold a home where someone, and some people do it, as opposed to getting that trap under the sink fixed, they'll put a bucket and they'll keep moving it out. Well, we don't want to do that. We don't want the people buying realizing, okay, now I've got to get a plumber for this. Go ahead and get those things done. Any broken handles on your doors, if your cabinet is stuck, those are red flags to buyers, because they look and say, well, if all this is broken, something else might be broken too. We don't want to give them that impression. So let's go over these type of 5 things again. Next show, we will go with the last 5, part 2, which will talk about spring cleaning for a successful sale. But I want to make sure you get these down. Please like, share, and subscribe. I ask you to do that. But number 1 is decluttering. That means getting everything out of that house that you possibly can. If you need to put it in storage or whatever you need to do, so that it's more spacious and more airy. Depersonalize, taking things out that say you, so that they can see how the house can look for them. Number 2, deep cleaning every room. And I do mean deep cleaning. And you can hire a company to come in and do that if you don't want to do it yourself, because you're probably going to be pretty tired after you've done all of that decluttering and depersonalizing, that you might want to get a company to come in and do some detailed cleaning, because you want it to look its best. Even if you're selling as is, you might not go to the detailed part, but you do need to make it look spacious, clean, and airy. You want to refresh the walls and touch up those dings and dangs and, those things that you have. If you have a dog and your dog has a habit of scratching, to get outside or getting your attention, and they've messed up the baseboard, you want to touch that up if you can, because you just want to make sure that this property looks the best that it can, so that people will want to buy it. And if you're still living there, you want to make sure your closet spaces are organized, your cabinets and your pantries, and declutter them as well, so that people can see the space that they have. And then fixing minor repairs, those little things that you just ignore, you don't want to ignore it for the next person. You want to get those handles on. You want to make sure the faucets aren't leaking. There's no leaks anywhere. You want to get those spider webs out of the corner. Whatever you need to do to make this house look like you may even want to stay in it yourself for a longer period of time. That's what you need to do, because we want to make sure your home is sold and sold quickly and in the time that you want. Again, we ask for you to always look to subscribing, sharing this information with someone you may know who's looking to sell. Part two will come up at our next show on the 4th. I think we're the 1st and 3rd of the month. And so please tune in to part two, like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank you all for joining us. Again, look forward to seeing you at our next show and asking you if you have any information that you would like to see on the show. Please let us know. Here's our contact information. Again, thank you for another successful Realty, Resources, and Realities.